The search for a treatment for the SARS virus is making inroads. PRB, a US-based pharmaceutical firm, has developed a new anti-SARS product called Vira 38. Preliminary tests on Vira 38 in April and July showed it contained two factors effective in combating SARS. Vira 38 will go on sale in Hong Kong next month as a treatment for influenza. Joining us now from our Hong Kong studio is Charles Hensley, CEO, co-chairman and co-chief executive for PRB. Charles, thank you very much for coming in to join us this morning. Tell us a little bit more about this Vira 38. Is it a preventative drug or is it a cure?
Well, Vira 38 is a treatment for influenza. And this particular treatment has been shown, as you mentioned before, to have a couple fractions that are very effective at inhibiting the SARS virus.
Thus far, if you talk to the health department here in Hong Kong, I mean, they're maintaining that ribavirin or Virazole alongside Kaletra and maybe some protease inhibitors are the kind of the first-line treatment. Do your findings kind of put paid to that argument?
Yeah, I really have my doubts about that protocol. We already know that ribavirin is fraught with side effects, and these other AIDS drugs really haven't been tested in vivo against any SARS patients yet. So I have my doubts. I'll wait and see on that one.
The U.S. military, last time we heard, was testing 2,000 different compounds and combinations. I mean, the hope was that they would be able to take some antiviral protocols off the shelf, combine them in a methodology that would be able to kill off the SARS virus. Is that not working?
So far, it's been difficult. The problem with existing drugs is that they are not designed for SARS, obviously, and when you look at the levels that are necessary to inhibit the SARS virus, oftentimes they're way above the normal toxicity range that's acceptable.
Charles, you mentioned that this treatment will eventually become a preventative measure. So as it is now, what you're saying is that this treatment is no guarantee to preventing SARS at the moment.
You're absolutely correct. Like I mentioned before, this is an influenza treatment. We're very encouraged by our SARS results. But we all know that really influenza is a big problem in terms of infectious diseases, especially with the bird flu coming up. We feel that most of our emphasis needs to be on influenza. If it turns out that this medication also is very effective against SARS, which will be borne out one way or the other with our human testing later on, that would be great.
You know, we're nearing, Doctor, we're nearing the end of November right now, and fears are running high, you know, of a surfacing of SARS. I mean, around town you see people starting to don masks again, which is kind of a scary throwback to what happened in March, April, and May of this year. Why is this taking so long? Because the WTO was able to convince medical labs around the world to fast-track this whole process because of the urgency of battling SARS. And yet, you know, we're hearing about, you know, these protocols taking months and months of testing. Is there any way to get this onto the market on perhaps a compassionate basis, you know, if more SARS cases resurface rather than going through phase 1, 2, and 3 clinicals?
Well, we hope so, but I'd just like to say that in defense of the medical community, a few months is nothing in the lifespan of in product development. It usually takes many, many years. However, yes, when we're in an emergency situation, such as we have with SARS, we have to look at every single alternative available to us. And so I'd say yes. With no treatment available, we have to use what we can.
Now, at the moment, this treatment will be first made available in Hong Kong. Do you have any plans to extend it worldwide, and when? Absolutely.
We're launching it first in Hong Kong because Hong Kong is the epicenter of SARS research. Also, it's the most logical place for any company, any serious company involved in virology to be located. However, yes, we'll roll this out worldwide.
And finally, Dr. Hensley, one of the main concerns among immuno experts is the ability of the SARS virus, the coronavirus, to mutate. That's one of the reasons why we don't have an HIV vaccine to date is because it is so fleet-footed that you can't really nail it down, and it mutates to a point where no vaccine would be really effective. Is that what we're finding with the SARS coronavirus, or has it stabilized to a point where eventually we're going to have a vaccine and people will be able to be inoculated against it?
No, I don't think there's ever going to be a vaccine that's going to be effective for very long. And you're right. The reason is because the mutation rate for coronaviruses are so high. I think it's even worse than HIV. Coronaviruses, mutate at extremely high rapid rate. Therefore, even if you were to have a vaccine on the market today, who knows how long that would be working.
All right, Charles, we'll have to wrap it up there, but thank you very much for joining us this morning on Squawk Box. We're speaking there with Charles Hensley, co-chairman and co-chief executive for PRB, on that topic of a new possible influenza treatment. That's it from me, Chrissy. I'll see you in a little while.
Thanks for that, Colette. Let's get back to Bernie, still on the theme of health, looking at stocks in that sector. Bernie.
Yeah, Chrissy, what Dr. Hensley was just saying is that, any kind of a vaccine, any kind of a potential vaccine against the coronavirus may not be efficient. And yet China late yesterday announced that they were going to start human trials very soon. In fact, in the next few weeks, on an experimental SARS vaccine. Now, this is not happening under the mandate of the WHO, the World Health Organization.